Every morning when the world still sleeps, there exists a rare breed of individuals who rise before the sun. They are the silent warriors of discipline, the ones who understand that greatness doesn't begin with luck. It begins with habits. The 1% mindset isn't about privilege or power. It's about purpose. It's about making a decision to do what others won't so you can live the life others can't. While most hit the snooze button, the 1% rise and move, not because it's easy, but because they've trained their mind to reject comfort and chase growth. They know that the early hours are sacred. The quiet time where focus sharpens, dreams are mapped, and goals are born into reality. In that silence before the world awakens, they build momentum, confidence, and clarity that no chaos can shake. The 1% mindset is not a secret formula. It's a lifestyle of intentional action, relentless consistency, and inner fire. It's the understanding that success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who are awake, aware, and willing to outwork their own excuses. It's about owning your morning before the day owns you, about mastering yourself before the world demands your energy. Discipline over comfort defines the 1% mindset because it is the foundation of every extraordinary achievement that has ever been made. Comfort is seductive. It whispers softly to stay in bed, to delay the alarm, to rest just a little longer. But discipline speaks the language of purpose. It calls you to rise when the body says no, to push when the mind seeks ease, to move when every excuse tempts you to stop. Those who cultivate discipline understand that comfort offers temporary pleasure, while discipline builds permanent strength. It's the quiet power that separates dreamers from doers, intentions from execution, and potential from greatness. Discipline doesn't wait for motivation. It creates momentum through consistent action. It's waking up before the world does, not because you have to, but because you've chosen to take control of your time, your energy, and your life. Comfort is reactive. It makes you a prisoner of feelings, moods, and fleeting desires. Discipline is proactive. It trains your mind to lead, not follow. The 1% mindset thrives in discomfort because it recognizes that every act of self-control strengthens the mind, sharpens the will, and builds resilience. When you embrace discipline, you begin to separate yourself from the crowd, not through arrogance, but through commitment. You stop chasing short-term satisfaction and start building long-term fulfillment. Each morning you choose discipline, you're building an identity, rewriting your story, and proving to yourself that you can rise above weakness. Comfort tells you to take it easy. Discipline tells you to earn your peace. Comfort wants you to escape challenge. Discipline demands that you embrace it. The 1% understand that true freedom doesn't come from avoiding effort. It comes from mastering it. Every successful person has fought the same battle between the desire for ease and the call of purpose, and every single one chose discipline. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. It's about doing what's right, not what's easy. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be, and it's built brick by brick, day after day, through small, consistent choices. The alarm goes off and the undisciplined mind negotiates. The disciplined one acts. That single moment of decision defines the direction of the day and eventually the direction of your life. Discipline doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for effort. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it, putting in the work when no one's watching, and refusing to settle for mediocrity when greatness is possible. The 1% mindset isn't about talent. It's about habits. It's not about how you feel in the moment, but what you're committed to becoming. Every act of discipline strengthens your character like fire-hardened steel. It's a daily training of the mind to lead with purpose, to resist the pull of comfort, to stand tall when it's easier to bend. Discipline is not punishment, it's liberation. It frees you from laziness, from procrastination, from the endless cycle of regret that comfort always delivers. It gives you control over your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions. The 1% mindset sees discipline not as a burden, but as a gift, a sacred power that transforms chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence. When you practice discipline, you begin to think differently, move differently, live differently. You start respecting time because you've learned its value through effort. You no longer need external motivation because your internal drive has become unstoppable. You stop comparing yourself to others because your focus is entirely on growth. Every morning you rise early. Every task you complete, every moment you choose focus over distraction. You're rewriting your destiny. Discipline doesn't promise an easy road, it promises a meaningful one. It's about making sacrifices today so your future self can live freely tomorrow. It's about refusing to let comfort dictate your limits. The disciplined mind sees opportunity in struggle, strength in repetition, and pride in perseverance. The 1% mindset knows that comfort zones kill potential. Every time you step beyond them, you expand your capacity for greatness. Discipline is doing the work even when it feels pointless, trusting that each effort compounds into mastery. It's the invisible power behind success, the force that keeps you grounded when the world is chaotic. While others seek shortcuts, the disciplined stay patient. While others quit at discomfort, the disciplined grow through it. The 1% understand that discipline isn't about restriction. It's about creation. It creates space for excellence, time for growth, and clarity for purpose. It transforms the ordinary into the exceptional. It makes you unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Discipline over comfort is not just a choice. It's a declaration that your purpose matters more than your excuses, that your dreams are worth the early mornings, the sacrifices, the struggle, and the silence. Early mornings build focus, clarity, and direction because they strip away the noise of the world and allow you to hear the voice within. When the sun is yet to rise and the streets are silent, that is when the mind becomes still enough to think clearly. It's a sacred time when your thoughts are uninterrupted, your energy is fresh, and your intentions are pure. The early hours are not just moments on a clock, they are the foundation of mastery, the birthplace of momentum. Waking up early gives you the space to align with your goals before distractions invade your mind. It's the quiet hour where discipline meets purpose and where focus sharpens into precision. Those who rise early do not chase the day, they command it. They walk into the world prepared, grounded, and centered, while others scramble to catch up. Early mornings are the hidden advantage of the 1%, the unseen ritual that fuels extraordinary success. When you wake before the rest of the world, you claim ownership of your time. You begin the day on your terms, not reacting to notifications, demands, or obligations, but creating your own rhythm. In that silence, ideas flow freely, plans become clear, and priorities take shape. You gain control over your mind because there are no external voices fighting for your attention. Focus becomes a natural state, clarity becomes effortless, and direction becomes visible. You begin to see not just what you want, but why you want it. The early hours allow you to visualize your goals without interference, to mentally rehearse success before it unfolds. It's in those quiet minutes of solitude that the most powerful decisions are made, the ones that shape careers, build legacies, and transform lives. The early morning trains you to think deeply, to move intentionally, and to act deliberately. It creates a rhythm of calm power that stays with you throughout the day. When others wake up in chaos, you wake up in control. When others chase time, you're already ahead. The mind, like the body, performs best when it's trained, and waking early is the ultimate mental training. It teaches you consistency, responsibility, and patience. It reminds you that success doesn't come to those who rush. It comes to those who prepare. Early mornings don't just give you time. They give you perspective. They help you step back from the noise of the world and connect with your deeper purpose. You begin to understand where you're going and what truly matters. You start noticing patterns, opportunities, and insights that you'd miss in the rush of the day. Focus sharpens not because you force it, but because distractions are absent. The world feels slower, clearer, simpler. In that stillness, you can see the truth of your goals and the path that leads to them. Clarity isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's built through reflection, repetition, and routine. Each early morning becomes a ritual of alignment where your actions, values, and vision meet. You begin to plan your day with intention instead of reacting to whatever comes. You move from chaos to structure, from confusion to certainty. The early hours are your reset button, your sanctuary, your power zone. They allow you to set the tone of your day before the world sets it for you. Those who use their mornings wisely operate with a sense of peace that others envy. They don't need to rush or chase. They already know their direction. Their focus becomes unshakable because they've anchored their mind in stillness before stepping into motion. Early mornings are not about deprivation. They're about elevation. They lift your energy, sharpen your awareness, and align your spirit with purpose. The 1% mindset sees the morning not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity, a time to prepare mentally, physically, and emotionally for greatness. Every sunrise becomes a signal, a reminder that you've been given another chance to move closer to your vision. When you start your day early, you carry a quiet confidence that others can feel. You've already faced your first challenge by rising when you could have rested. That single act of willpower fuels every decision that follows. It's not just about waking up, it's about awakening your potential. The morning gives you space to journal, to meditate, to plan, to move, to breathe, to grow. These small, consistent acts create momentum that compounds into extraordinary results. You build focus because your mind learns to prioritize. You build clarity because you start seeing beyond the noise. You build direction because you know exactly where your energy is going. Early mornings are the meeting point between ambition and execution. They are where intentions turn into action. Every quiet sunrise holds infinite possibility for those who dare to rise with it. The 1% understand that the world rewards preparation, and the morning is the preparation ground of champions. In the calm before the day begins, they sharpen their edge, align their emotions, and charge their mind with purpose. They start the day with gratitude, with vision, with a plan, while others begin with confusion, with rush, with regret. Focus is not a talent. It's a product of how you start your day. Clarity is not a mystery. It's the result of mental stillness. Direction is not found. It's created in the silence of the morning where the soul speaks louder than the world. Success is born in consistent, unseen effort because greatness doesn't happen in the spotlight. It's forged in the quiet moments when no one is watching. The world celebrates results, but it rarely sees the countless hours of dedication that built them. The 1% mindset understands that success is not a single grand event. It's the accumulation of small, disciplined actions repeated every day. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet sacrifices that no one claps for. True success grows in silence, in the spaces between comfort and struggle, in the times when it would be easier to quit, but you choose to continue. Every repetition, every choice to show up, every task completed with focus builds an invisible foundation that eventually becomes unshakable. Consistency doesn't shout. It whispers through persistence, through patience, through practice. It's about doing what must be done even when the excitement is gone, even when progress feels invisible. The unseen effort is what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. Anyone can work hard when they're inspired, but only the truly driven can stay consistent when motivation fades. It's in the unseen hours that mastery is developed, character is tested, and resilience is born. The 1% mindset isn't focused on instant gratification, it's focused on long-term growth. Those who live by it understand that true success doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow build of effort, failure, learning, and improvement. It's not glamorous. It's often repetitive and lonely. But that's where transformation occurs. Success belongs to those who commit to the process, not just the outcome. Each day of consistent effort compounds like drops filling a bucket, until one day the overflow is visible to the world. Most people give up because they expect results too quickly, forgetting that real progress takes time. The 1% mindset thrives on patience because it values progress over perfection. It doesn't seek validation or applause. It seeks mastery. When no one is watching, when there's no recognition, when the journey feels endless, that's when the true test begins. The ones who persist through those moments build a level of inner strength that nothing can break. The unseen effort creates unshakable confidence because it's built on proof. Proof that you showed up, proof that you endured, proof that you earned every bit of growth, every hour spent refining your craft, every mistake corrected, every setback overcome adds to that silent momentum. Success becomes inevitable not because of luck, but because consistency makes quitting impossible. The world sees the final product, the performance, the business, the success story, but it doesn't see the long nights of doubt, the countless rejections, the failures that taught lessons too deep for words. It doesn't see the emotional discipline it takes to keep moving when progress is slow. But those who live the 1% mindset don't need the world to see. They know their worth is measured in the effort they give, not the recognition they receive. They understand that success is a result of invisible repetition of doing the same small things every day until they become effortless. It's the consistency that builds mastery, the mastery that builds confidence, and the confidence that creates opportunity. Every professional, every athlete, every creator who's reached the top has done so through the quiet grind that no one witnesses. The unseen effort is not just about physical work, it's about mental endurance. It's the battle of the mind, the voice that says, keep going when everything feels heavy. It's the self-discipline to stay focused when distractions call. It's the patience to improve one small detail at a time, knowing that greatness grows slowly. Consistency is the most powerful form of self-belief because it proves that you trust the process. You don't need immediate rewards because your actions are already aligned with your vision. The 1% mindset doesn't chase shortcuts, it builds systems. It creates structure in chaos and turns routine into power. Success comes to those who keep building even when results aren't visible, who keep believing when progress feels invisible, who keep improving when no one's paying attention. The unseen effort molds your mindset into something unstoppable. It makes you resilient, adaptable, and unshakable. It trains you to love the process instead of chasing outcomes. You begin to appreciate the grind, not for the rewards it brings, but for the person it shapes you into. Each day of effort builds more than skills. It builds character. It teaches you persistence, humility, and discipline. Success then becomes inevitable because you've already become the kind of person capable of sustaining it. The unseen effort teaches patience, and patience is the foundation of mastery. It reminds you that every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit. It teaches that every win is built on thousands of small, unseen steps. The 1% mindset understands that the journey matters more than the destination because it's in the journey that growth happens. Every failure, every repetition, every attempt that didn't work adds depth, wisdom, and strength. The unseen effort is where dreams are molded into reality, where raw ambition turns into refined skill. The world may never see the hours you spent training, planning, or learning, but the results will eventually speak louder than words. Those who give everything behind the scenes never need to prove themselves. They let their consistency speak. The unseen work builds integrity, and integrity is what sustains success once it's achieved. The 1% don't work for recognition. They work for transformation. They understand that success isn't about being noticed. It's about becoming unstoppable. ChatGPT said, "The 1% act while others wait for motivation because they understand that action creates energy, while waiting drains it." Most people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling before they begin. But those with the 1% mindset know that perfection never arrives and motivation is fleeting. They move first and trust that momentum will follow. They know that doing one small thing is more powerful than thinking about doing 100. The 1% don't wait for inspiration. They create it through movement, through effort, through consistency. They understand that progress doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from doing. Every action, no matter how small, breaks the barrier of hesitation. It's in the act of starting that clarity appears, that courage grows, and that belief strengthens. The ones who achieve greatness don't feel ready. They act anyway. They wake up when it's hard, they push forward when they're tired, and they show up when others make excuses. They don't rely on emotional highs to get things done. They rely on commitment. Action builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum, and momentum creates success. The 1% mindset thrives on the cycle of self-created motivation. They've learned that waiting is a trap. The longer you wait to act, the weaker your will becomes. Every second spent hesitating is a second lost to fear, doubt, and procrastination. The 1% move with urgency, not recklessness, because they know that forward motion is better than perfect planning. They act in faith that progress, even imperfect progress, is still progress. They trust the process enough to begin before they have all the answers. While others are talking about what they'll do someday, they're already doing it today. That's what separates achievers from dreamers. Motivation might get you started once, but action is what keeps you going forever. The 1% don't depend on fleeting feelings to determine their destiny. They take responsibility for their energy, their time, and their mindset. They understand that emotion follows motion. When you act, your mind and body respond with energy, clarity, and focus. The moment you take the first step, hesitation loses power. The 1% understand this deeply, and they use it as fuel. They know that you can't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the tide to change without rowing the boat. It keeps you stuck. It feeds doubt and it kills potential. Action, on the other hand, builds momentum that no external source can match. The simple act of moving forward ignites something powerful inside, a sense of control, purpose, and direction. Every small action sends a signal to your mind that you're capable, and that belief compounds. The 1% act not because they always feel like it, but because they've trained themselves to do what's necessary. They've built a habit of movement. They understand that discipline is stronger than desire, and that consistency matters more than motivation. They wake up early, they follow routines, they execute their plans, and through that repetition, they create their own motivation. Success doesn't belong to the most inspired. It belongs to the most consistent. Every great achievement in history began with a simple act of courage, a decision to begin without certainty. Those who move first gain experience, learn faster, and adapt quicker than those who wait. The 1% mindset sees every action as an investment, every failure as feedback, and every step forward as progress. They don't let fear of imperfection stop them from trying. They understand that hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever could. They act even when it's uncomfortable because they know growth doesn't happen in stillness. It happens in movement. Every time they take action, they expand their capacity, they strengthen their discipline, and they prove to themselves that they are in control. The 1% don't chase motivation. They generate it by doing the work. They know that the act of showing up transforms the mind. The hardest part is starting, and once that first step is taken, the rest begins to flow. Action transforms resistance into rhythm. It turns anxiety into focus and turns dreams into reality. The 1% understand that waiting is a form of fear disguised as preparation. They don't need to feel ready because they've learned that readiness comes from experience. They move because they know that inaction creates regret, while action creates growth. Each day they choose movement over stagnation, purpose over hesitation. They act before the world tells them to. They lead instead of follow. They create instead of consume. They know that opportunity doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. Action builds momentum that multiplies over time, and once momentum takes hold, success becomes unstoppable. The 1% live by the law of motion. If you stay still, you decay. If you move, you evolve. They push through doubt, through fatigue, through discomfort, and in doing so, they train their minds to obey their goals rather than their emotions. Action becomes their language, and consistency becomes their power. They understand that motion brings clarity, and clarity brings purpose. When you move, you learn. When you act, you grow. When you do, you become. The 1% act not because they know they'll succeed, but because they refuse to let fear define them. They know that the person who acts will always outgrow the one who waits. Every morning they wake up with the awareness that today's effort shapes tomorrow's reality. They know that every moment spent in hesitation is a moment lost to potential, and so they move. With intention, with faith, with fire. Mastering your morning is mastering your mind, because how you start your day shapes the energy, direction, and focus of everything that follows. The first few hours after you wake are the foundation of your mindset, the time when your thoughts are most powerful and your habits most influential. The 1% mindset understands that mornings are not something to survive, they are something to own. Each sunrise brings with it a new opportunity to build momentum, strengthen discipline, and set the emotional tone for success. When you wake with intention, you train your mind to lead instead of react. You begin your day with clarity, not chaos, with purpose, not pressure. The way you approach your morning reflects the way you approach life. If you start distracted, rushed, and unfocused, your day unfolds in the same pattern. But if you start centered, deliberate, and grounded, everything flows with control and direction. Mastering your morning means reclaiming power over your time before the world demands it. It's about using those early hours to align with your vision, sharpen your focus, and condition your thoughts for progress. The 1% mindset knows that the morning is not just a part of the day. It's the launch pad for every decision that follows. When you rise early and give attention to your thoughts, your goals, and your routines, you're programming your subconscious to operate with clarity and confidence. You're telling your mind that you are in control. That first hour after waking determines your energy, your productivity, and your emotional resilience. The 1% treat it like sacred time. They don't rush to check messages or scroll through distractions. They protect that window of stillness to feed their mind with focus, gratitude, and strength. They know that what enters the mind first stays the longest. The morning becomes their place of transformation, the time when they train themselves to stay calm under pressure, to focus under noise, to think clearly under stress. Mastering your morning is about developing rituals that prime your mind for excellence. It could be exercise to awaken the body, meditation to still the thoughts, journaling to create direction, or planning to bring structure. Each act serves a purpose. It tells the mind to operate with order and control. Those who master their morning no longer live on autopilot. They move with intention. They don't react to the day. They create it. They build a habit of winning early, and that victory carries momentum into every task. Every morning becomes a rehearsal for success. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. When you start your day deliberately, you remind yourself that you are the author of your mindset. The 1% understand that success doesn't begin with goals. It begins with state of mind, and nothing shapes that more than how you begin each day. A calm, focused morning strengthens decision-making, enhances discipline, and quiets the chaos of the world. The 1% don't allow the external world to set their mood. They set it themselves through their morning routine. They build control over their thoughts before those thoughts control them. When you win the morning, you win the day. You enter every situation with composure because you've already conquered the hardest part, yourself. The morning becomes your mental gym where you practice consistency, patience, and focus. Each morning you wake early, resist distractions, and focus on purpose. You're teaching your brain to prioritize growth over comfort. The 1% don't chase motivation in the morning. They manufacture it through movement, gratitude, and intention. They understand that the first thoughts of the day set the frequency of the mind. When you start with negativity, the day spirals in that direction. When you start with clarity, everything aligns. Mastering your morning means designing an environment that supports your goals. It's the discipline of creating space for silence, for thought, for planning, so that your mind doesn't begin in reaction mode. It's choosing not to let your phone dictate your thoughts, but instead letting your mind dictate your focus. It's choosing self-awareness over distraction. The 1% mindset sees the morning as a time to build inner strength. It's where they visualize their goals, remind themselves of their purpose, and prepare mentally for challenges ahead. They know that if they can win those early hours, they can handle whatever comes later. Each morning becomes a ritual of empowerment, a silent declaration that they are in control of their mind, their habits, and their destiny. The 1% don't see waking early as a chore. They see it as a privilege, a head start that multiplies over time. When you master your morning, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. You gain awareness of your thoughts, and that awareness turns into power. The world moves faster each day, but the 1% move with intention because they've built a rhythm that keeps them grounded. They use their mornings to visualize victory, to train gratitude, to plan with precision. Every thought becomes a tool. Every action a step toward alignment. Mastering your morning isn't about being busy. It's about being conscious. It's about protecting your focus from noise and your energy from waste. It's about creating a morning so structured that chaos can't shake it. The 1% understand that a distracted morning creates a distracted mind. They don't leave their mornings to chance. They build them with purpose. They rise with a mission. They move with clarity. They think with intent. Over time, their mornings become a rhythm of excellence that bleeds into every aspect of their life. When you master your morning, you control the narrative of your day. You start from a place of power, not panic. You think before you react, plan before you act, and create before you consume. The 1% mindset knows that the battle of success is won long before the world wakes up. It's won in those quiet hours when the mind is sharpest, when the will is strongest, and when the soul is most connected to its purpose. Growth begins when you conquer excuses, because every limitation you believe in is a story you've told yourself to stay comfortable. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep people stuck in the same patterns, the same failures, the same unfulfilled dreams. The 1% mindset knows that excuses are the greatest enemy of progress. They disguise themselves as reasons, logic, and self-protection, but in truth, they are barriers built by fear. Every time you say, "I can't," what you really mean is, "I won't." Every time you delay action, what you're really doing is protecting your comfort zone. Growth starts the moment you stop justifying mediocrity and start demanding more from yourself. The 1% don't blame circumstances, time, or luck. They take ownership of everything. They understand that responsibility is the foundation of power. The moment you take full accountability for your life, you gain the ability to change it. Excuses remove control. Ownership restores it. The 1% refuse to surrender their growth to excuses because they know that comfort never built strength. They accept that progress is uncomfortable, that success requires sacrifice, and that every excuse weakens the will. Growth is not about perfection. It's about persistence in the face of resistance. The 1% mindset thrives on the understanding that you can't grow and make excuses at the same time. You have to choose one. The moment you stop explaining why you can't and start acting on how you can, your world expands. Every excuse you eliminate is a doorway to strength. Each time you push past a limitation, you train your mind to see possibility instead of obstacles. Excuses feed fear, but action feeds courage. The 1% don't wait for conditions to be right. They move despite imperfection. They understand that if you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Growth happens when you step into discomfort, when you take action despite doubt, when you move forward, even when your mind tells you not to. Excuses whisper lies. They say you're too tired, too late, too unprepared, too unlucky. But those who grow understand that those voices are just resistance testing your resolve. Every person has the same 24 hours, the same opportunity to decide whether to give in or rise above. The 1% have learned to silence excuses by replacing them with purpose. They don't ask, can I do it? They ask, how can I do it? That shift in mindset transforms obstacles into challenges and challenges into opportunities. Growth begins the moment you stop negotiating with your limitations. It begins when you recognize that excuses are comfort in disguise. The reason most people never grow is not because they lack potential, but because they protect their excuses more than they pursue their purpose. The 1% are brutally honest with themselves. They don't sugarcoat their shortcomings or rationalize their failures. They face them head on, learn from them, and keep moving. They know that accountability may be painful, but it's the birthplace of transformation. Growth is not a gift, it's a decision to stop allowing the mind to control you through fear. Excuses are easy because they feel safe. Growth is hard because it demands responsibility, but every time you take ownership, you evolve. The 1% live by a simple principle: if it's to be, it's up to me. They don't point fingers at the world, they turn the focus inward. They understand that blaming others gives away power, but taking ownership gives it back. The more excuses you remove, the more control you gain. When you stop hiding behind someday and maybe you start living in the now, growth is born in action, not intention. The 1% move even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncertain, even when it's difficult, because they've learned that movement breaks fear. They see every excuse as a test of discipline and every challenge as a chance to rise higher. Excuses protect weakness, growth strengthens resilience. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses, you rewire your brain to see possibility where others see obstacles. You begin to realize that the biggest barrier was never external, it was your own hesitation. The 1% understand that life will always present reasons to stop, to delay, to give up, but those who grow never let reasons win over resolve. They focus on what they can control and let go of what they can't. They understand that mastery is not achieved through comfort, but through struggle, through failure, through persistence. Growth requires honesty, the kind of honesty that forces you to admit when you've been standing in your own way. It requires courage to face the parts of yourself that make excuses and choose discipline instead. Each time you conquer an excuse, you reclaim a piece of your power. You become stronger, clearer, and more determined. The 1% mindset thrives in this awareness. They've trained themselves to recognize when excuses try to creep in and replace them with immediate action. They know that hesitation is a silent thief, stealing dreams one thought at a time. Growth begins when you stop allowing that theft to continue. It begins when you wake up to the truth that success has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with consistency. Excuses create limits that don't exist. They blind you to your potential and keep you stuck in the loop of what if. Growth is the act of breaking that loop, of saying, I will try, I will learn, I will adapt. Every time you break an excuse, you break a barrier within yourself. You stop living in reaction and start living with intention. The 1% mindset doesn't seek comfort, they seek control, and control begins where excuses end. They understand that success doesn't demand perfection, it demands progress. They don't wait for a better mood, a better moment, or a better plan. They start now with what they have. That's where growth lives, in the courage to begin without conditions. Discipline is the bridge between goals and reality, because without discipline, even the strongest desire collapses under the weight of distraction. The 1% mindset is built on the understanding that motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Motivation can get you started, but only discipline keeps you going when the excitement fades. It's the quiet force that makes you act whether you feel like it or not. The world is full of people with dreams, but very few have the consistency to execute them every day. The 1% separate themselves not through talent, but through the daily decision to stay committed when others give up. Discipline is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary performers. It is the invisible muscle that strengthens every time you choose consistency over comfort. The 1% don't rely on inspiration, they rely on structure. They understand that success isn't built in bursts of energy, but in small, deliberate actions repeated relentlessly. Discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. It gives you control over your mind, your emotions, and your outcomes. Without it, you drift wherever impulses take you. With it, you steer your life with intention. The 1% treat discipline as a habit, not a feeling. They wake up early not because it's easy, but because it builds character. They work on their goals when no one's watching, because they know discipline in private creates reward in public. Every repetition, every early morning, every moment of sacrifice compounds into results. The 1% note that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the regret of inaction lasts forever. Discipline doesn't ask if you're ready. It demands that you show up. It doesn't care about your mood, your excuses, or your circumstances. It only responds to consistency. The more you practice discipline, the more you build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you prove to your mind that your word means something. That internal trust becomes the foundation of confidence. The 1% build their identity around discipline. They don't wait for the perfect time. They create it. They understand that greatness is built one decision at a time, decisions that most people avoid. Discipline means doing what needs to be done even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. It's waking up before the sun, pushing one more rep, writing one more page, making one more call. It's the quiet repetition that no one applauds, but everyone eventually notices. The 1% see discipline as a form of self-respect. They understand that to master anything, they must first master themselves. They don't let emotions dictate actions. They let purpose lead behavior. Discipline gives them the power to act in alignment with their goals rather than their feelings. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Every day you stay consistent, you build momentum. Every small action compounds into strength, focus, and resilience. The 1% understand that true discipline is not forced, it's chosen. It's the decision to prioritize the long term over the short term, to value progress over pleasure. They embrace the grind because they know that's where transformation happens. Discipline is what separates those who wish from those who achieve. It's easy to start something. It's discipline that decides who finishes. The 1% live by a simple rule: do it regardless. Regardless of the weather, regardless of how they feel, regardless of who's watching, because they know the moment you allow conditions to control your consistency, you lose control over your destiny. Discipline trains the mind to obey the will, and that obedience is where freedom begins. The 1% don't chase motivation, they chase mastery. Mastery is born from routine. They understand that repetition builds excellence. Every time you act with discipline, you carve a path in your mind that makes the next action easier. Over time, discipline becomes automatic, and what once felt hard becomes habit. That's the moment where most people stop, but the 1% push further. They thrive on structure because structure creates strength. They don't see discipline as restriction. They see it as empowerment. The more disciplined they become, the more control they have over their future. They don't depend on external validation. Their satisfaction comes from progress itself. Discipline is the language of results. The world listens to action, not intention. You can dream all day, plan all night, but without disciplined execution, those dreams remain fantasies. The 1% understand this truth deeply. They use discipline as their compass, guiding every choice, every habit, every response. When challenges arise, they don't retreat. They lean into discipline even harder. It's their armor against distraction and their anchor during chaos. Discipline allows them to stay calm under pressure, focused under noise, and committed under doubt. They understand that every delay, every hesitation, every skip step weakens momentum, so they eliminate options that don't align with their mission. Discipline simplifies life. It removes confusion by making decisions automatic. The 1% wake up knowing what needs to be done because discipline has already written the plan. They don't debate their priorities, they execute them. That's why they move faster, grow stronger, and achieve more. Discipline doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger. It doesn't remove obstacles. It gives you the strength to overcome them. Every act of discipline sharpens your mind and strengthens your character. The 1% understand that discipline is not about controlling time, it's about controlling attention. Where focus goes, energy flows. They use discipline to direct that energy toward growth, not distraction. Each day they win small battles against comfort, and those victories build a warrior mindset. Over time, that mindset becomes unshakable. Discipline is what keeps them going when motivation fades, what keeps them grounded when success comes, and what brings them back when failure hits. It's the unbreakable rhythm of progress, the steady beat that turns effort into excellence, and it's the reason why the 1% never rely on luck. They rely on discipline.